Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So International Wonder Woman trailer, little bit of new footage of the fight scenes, and we learned a little bit about the villains too. So I'll be mostly talking about that.
Я всегда любила тебя. Будь осторожна, Диана. Они не стоят тебя.
Ты никогда мужчин не видела? А как же твой отец?
У меня не было отца. Зевс дал мне жизнь.
Оно и видно. Я тебе не позволю.
Это не тебе решать.
Это Кэнди, секретарь Стива Тревора.
Что значит секретарь?
Иду, куда он скажет, делаю то, что он скажет.
Там, откуда я родом, это зовется рабством.
Оно мне нравится.
Здорово. После вас, леди.
Очень нравится.
So slightly longer fight sequences, just some more shiny. I can't wait to see her in Justice League. Like, you look at her costume here, and like they show it off a little bit better in this version of the trailer. Just super bright, nice saturated colors. It hasn't been faded by time. When you get to Batman v Superman, like they took a lot of color out of that film, so maybe it's brighter and we just couldn't tell. But it looks like she just hasn't polished it in a while. So I think, by the time we get to that moment in Justice League where they're all assembled, Superman's back in the shinier version of his costume, we'll see her in a shinier version of her Wonder Woman uniform. And this right here, like this art that they released back during Comic-Con, is just an approximation. It's just like a Photoshop job. That won't be exactly how they look, but it's pretty close. But back to the Wonder Woman movie. So one of the important things that we haven't talked a lot about is the villains of the movie. Like, everybody knows that Ares is typically Wonder Woman's biggest villain, but it looks like they're starting in a relatively real-world place, even though they kind of tease her backstory when she's explaining her backstory to Chris Pine, saying she's the daughter of Zeus and Hippolyta. This is Hippolyta right here. So the movie has to do a lot of the same things that first Thor movie did, where they have to reconcile how they fit the gods into modern mythology. Like, are they actual gods, or are they just like alien beings, metahumans, who are super powerful and seem like gods? Like, how is this gonna work? Because Wonder Woman in the comics is an actual demigod. Like, in the most current version of her backstory, it's been retconned a couple times, but in the most current version, she is the daughter of Zeus and Hippolyta. She is half god. So that seems like the version the movie's going with. So like, she can't fly, but she has super strength. She's almost as powerful as Superman as long as he hasn't been sunbathing for too long. But in Batman v Superman, she's on the list of metahumans. So I think she's closer to being a metahuman than she is to being an actual demigod. So we'll see how they explain the Zeus part of this. He's really like the hardest part to explain because the Amazons could just be metahumans. But Danny Huston is playing the big villain. This is World War I, so these are not Nazis. The Nazis didn't come around till World War II. One of the reasons I think they put it during World War I is just to differentiate it from that first Captain America movie. So you have Danny Huston, who looks like he's a high-ranking member of the German military. Then you have this other female character here who is definitely playing a villain, but they've been very mysterious about who she's actually playing. So she is playing someone from the comics, but I think what they're doing is it's Dr. Poison, and she's working for Danny Huston. Like, think about the technology they had around World War I, weapons of mass destruction. They hadn't got to the atom bomb yet. But when you talk about Ares, god of war, god of devastation, like the other villains of the Wonder Woman comics, they try to create as much death and chaos as possible. What's more deadly and insidious than creating toxic gas? So it just seems a little more plausible that would be happening around World War I. So it allows them to do Dr. Poison, or at least a version of the character. There have been a couple different versions of him in the comics, and he's typically a male character, but there was a gender flip version of the character called Granddaughter, who had history with the Amazons, like her own grandmother had battled with Hippolyta. So I think that's who this character is. But as you can imagine, all the incarnations try to create a version of Poison to poison the heroes. So that just feels like a very World War I, mustard gas type situation, whereby she is working with these Germans to try and create some very deadly weapon that Wonder Woman has to stop. But as for Cersei, like the other pantheon of Wonder Woman villains, Ares, I think that they'll all show up eventually. Like there will be Wonder Woman sequels. So just like the Justice League movie isn't going straight to Darkseid, I don't think the Wonder Woman movie is going to go straight to Ares. Like it's going to start in a relatively real world place. Like the other reason I think they said it during World War I is just because it'd be around 100 years before Batman v Superman happened. And that's what they want to say. Like Wonder Woman at the end of World War I just bailed and went and hid out for 100 years. So whatever it is she tries to do, she saves the day, but only at great cost, and it causes her to lay down the shield until Batman v Superman comes along. Which means if they do a Wonder Woman sequel, that it'll probably be set in present day like the Captain America movies did. So like you do the first Captain America movie in the past, do the origins of the character, then he gets thrust into modern day, just like Wonder Woman has been thrust back into the public spotlight, and then each movie thereafter is set during present day. So if you heard that this Wonder Woman movie takes place during two different time periods, the distant past and the present, that's why. Because she's so long-lived, you have to tell that old story before you can start telling all the new stuff. But the other really cool thing is that the Amazons were part of the first big battle with the forces of Darkseid and Apocalypse. There's a mother box in the Justice League trailer. The Amazons were there for that. They were a part of that. But they'll explain that during the Justice League movie next year. So we'll get like a good picture of Amazon history during the Wonder Woman movie with maybe a couple of teasers for Justice League, Darkseid, backstory. But most of Earth's history with Apocalypse and the New Gods will be spelled out during the Justice League movie. So let me know what you guys are most excited for in the Wonder Woman movie. I love her soundtrack. She has one of the best soundtracks of all the characters in this new DC universe. Like of all the things that Zack Snyder did with the new characters, I feel like Batman moves really well. Wonder Woman moves really well too, like the way they shoot her action, the way she dances around the battlefield. So just to be clear though, Zack Snyder didn't have anything to do with the Wonder Woman movie. That's all Geoff Johns and Patty Jenkins. Like Geoff Johns co-wrote the script for Wonder Woman. So it's like the first Geoff Johns DC movie in this new DC universe. So just get hype about that. It's really like the beginning of the Geoff Johns era of DC movies. But if you guys didn't know, there's a DC giveaway going on right now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. Tomorrow we have Superman and Supergirl versus Metallo, so I'll post that video after it airs. But we have Jesse Quick on The Flash on Tuesday. Wednesday is like a SummerSlam rematch between Stardust and Stephen Amell, although technically he can't use the Stardust name anymore. And then on Thursday is Justice Society. So like a big week for DC TV, but there's also some cool Ghost Rider stuff. So I'm going to be doing a Marvel video later tonight, so I'll explain all that stuff in that video. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for that Jesse Quick Flash trailer, and you can click here for that Arrow SummerSlam trailer. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.